They claim the late AmaZulu King's signature on his will was forged, but today the Pietermaritzburg High Court is set to rule on an application brought by two Royal House princesses questioning the validity of late King Goodwill Zwelithini's final wishes. Misuzulu Zwelithini Zulu's legal team pushed to prove otherwise. So what will the outcome be? Siphamandla Goge is at court for us. Sipa, there was a statement that was put out by Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who is the traditional Prime Minister to the Zulu monarch. And in it he said the litigation before the court has no bearing on the matter of royal succession. So if you clarify for us what the judge will be ruling on today and whether or not it has a direct link to the issue of succession.
So two matters that will be decided upon today. The initial application was brought by the late King's first wife, that is Queen Sibongile Madlamini of KwaZwelithini Royal Palace. She was arguing that as the first wife, she should be allowed to inherit 50% of the late King's estate. And she was arguing that the other wives must just, get the share of the remaining 50%, but as the first wife, she qualifies to inherit 50% of that. Initially, before going to court and in court, she was arguing that, well, she may also want to challenge the status of the marriages of the other 5 queens to the late king, because she was saying as the first wife, she's the one who is legally married to the late king. So therefore, she initially wanted the other marriages to be declared null and void. But in court, when arguments were heard, her legal team did concede that, well, actually, the other wives are there, the other queens are there, and then their client was part of the setup. In other words, she said nothing when the late king was still alive. So therefore, their client, I'm talking about now the legal representatives of Queen Sibongile, they were arguing that, we want for our client to get 50% of the estate, and we want her marriage to the late king to be basically declared that is the lawful one. But also we don't have a problem with the other children of the other wives and the other wives in this setup as a whole. So that was aspect number 1 of the court case. Aspect number 2 then is about the late king's 2 daughters, princesses of KwaZwelithini Royal Palace. They were arguing that their father's signature on the will may have been forged. Now that will is very important because the late king left the throne with the late Queen Richard Mantombi, who is King Misuzulu's mother. Queen Mantombi nominated King Misuzulu to take over the throne. If that will, or if the signature in that will was forged, those who are opposed to King Misuzulu say he cannot be the king of the Zulu nation because he would have been a beneficiary of a will that had a signature that was forged. But those who support King Misuzulu say, hang on, with or without the will, he would have ascended to the throne because history, culture, and tradition favors him. His mother was a princess from Eswatini Kingdom. His late father was the king. So in terms of him becoming a king, his mother was of royal blood, his father was of royal blood. With or without the will, he was going to ascend to the throne anyway, because culturally and traditionally, the way things are done is that Queen Mantombi, the late, is regarded as the great wife. She came to the Zulu kingdom to produce an heir to the throne. So Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi is clarifying that the outcome of the judgment of today will not basically affect the throne because no one came to court to say, we are contesting the throne, we want to be regarded as candidates or possible heirs to the throne. So therefore, here in court, the arguments were not about the throne or the candidate, but rather about these 2 matters. 1, Queen Sibongile wanting to inherit 50% of the estate. 2, the 2 princesses from KwaZwelithini Royal Palace saying, we want the court to rule on the validity of the signature of our father in that will.
All right, Sipa, in that statement as well, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi saying the King's regiments must not go to court today, to the Pietermaritzburg High Court today. Have they heeded his call?
I doubt they will. Of course, his statement is based on the context that this matter, according to him, has got nothing to do with the throne or the king. So therefore, for Amabuto to come to court and say they support the king, of course they can do that. They did that the last time when arguments were heard in court. But I can tell you, that we do expect Amabutho to come to court today. I've already spotted senior princes and princesses from the Zulu royal family. They are outside waiting to come in. A stage is being set up outside. My colleague Letu Mdluli will update later on. Can tell you that Amabutho are expected to come here. Of course, they are not expected to be in their thousands because they've been discouraged from coming to court. But we expect a certain number of people to come and show their support to the king, because some people somehow are convinced that the outcome of today's judgment will in a way play a role in easing the tensions, the ongoing tensions in the Zulu royal family. The issue of the throne, by the way, is not done and dusted. There's some people within the royal family, including the late king's brother, Prince Mbonisi, have written to President Cyril Ramaphosa saying a team of mediators led by Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma that the president appointed has failed in mediation. And on the 12th of March, if my memory serves me well, that will be 1 year since the late king departed. The other side of the royal family says, well, we will have an announcement to make about a candidate who will become the next king of AmaZulu. So even after today's judgment, we expect that this dispute will continue.